What's up, everybody, and happy Monday. Bronze through gold, all regions, below 5,000 dust. You all know the drill. Climb the standard ladder without breaking the bank. We have some budget decks. A couple of them, we're going to talk. The mini set's coming out in 24 hours or less, depending on when you watch this. And we'll see what's going on. Win rates, we've already seen this before a little bit. Paladin, Shaman, Warlock, Hunter. This is all the same thing that we've seen before. And it gets a little stale before the mini set drops or before the expansions drops. But the one thing is pretty relevant here and 100% accurate here is Rogue is doing bad. Rogue is having some problems. Now, was it bad as it was 2-3 weeks ago? No, I think Rogue was even less than 42.7%. But yeah, it's not looking so good. It looks like how Warrior was a year and a half something ago. Mage and Death Knight, there is viable decks for both of those. They keep on moving up and down between 51% and 49.9%. It's just right there. But again, said it before, if you're brand new, every one of the classes has potential to go bronze through gold, to win some games, to get your card back, to get some of the loot, and hopefully get some stars for the end of the season. Okay. Let's go over the decks. I want to make it super clear that we're going over some stuff that we've went over before. Okay, before we do that, actually, let's go and look at a little bit of the meta. We're going to look at last 7 days. We're going to look at bronze through gold. We're going to look at all regions, and look at this. It's just Flood Paladin, Handbuff Paladin, Pain Warlock, Secret Hunter, Elemental Mage, Elemental Shaman. We're going to talk about all of these, I would imagine. I think almost every single one of them, yes. And we have spoken about these before, but look, they're tier 1. They're super cheap. If you wanted to climb bronze through gold, it's very good possibility for you to do some, and the decks will keep on going past bronze through gold. Let's go look at the classes really quick. Yeah, Demon Hunter only has Pirate. There's been some Shopper stuff. There's been some big Demon Hunter, but just nothing right this moment. Nothing in the past couple of weeks. Death Knight, you have a lot of options there. Plague is still at 49.6%. I wish it would go higher. Will the mini set bring Plague back? There's one card I think that will work for Plague Death Knight. Be on the lookout also. I'm going to talk about the mini set in another video. Druid is just doing exactly what it did before last week and the week after. Hunter's got some options. Unfortunately with Hunter, you know, I've said it before, Hunter has some problems with budgets, meaning that if you're looking to spend, you know, 5,000 dust or less, you only have like one option for Hunter. But I love Breakfast Hunter. Breakfast Hunter is awesome, 52.8% win rate, but it's just a little too expensive for this video. Maybe we'll talk about it in the midweek meta that I do every other week, every week, depending on the situation. Mage has Elemental and Big Spell Mage, and that's pretty much it. There's nothing else. Why would you play anything else? I think we're going to talk about Elemental Mage. Yes, we are. Paladin is just, listen, consistent. Handbuff, Blood, Mining, Aura Paladin. I think I've seen that once before. But yeah, it's pretty easy for you to win games if you're playing Paladin. We're going to talk about Paladin because you'd be silly if you're talking about or referencing a video about budget decks. Paladin should be a #1 on your list. Priest has Zarimi, and it's got a little bit of heal. Look, heal and aggro Priest are at 49.5%. You'll win games bronze through gold, but you just won't win a lot of them, and you won't get it any higher than gold. Really, Zarimi Priest is it, and Zarimi's expensive. Rogue is just, yeah, I feel bad for Rogue. Only for about 60 seconds, and then I remember how Rogue has just dominated the ladder for many months. So I'm okay with this. Listen, there's people that are playing Rogue right now that don't like this. Understand completely. No one's saying that, you know, oh, this one sucks. Rogue needs some help. I don't know if the mini set is giving it any help. We'll talk about it in another video. Shaman's got options. You know, Shaman, the only thing that you have to worry about is how much dust or gold or packs or what have you that you can play these decks, because there's a lot of options for Shaman. Wasn't really the case a couple of weeks ago. I think Evolve was in there a little bit. I think Elemental was in there. We're going to talk about Elemental Shaman because it is fun. Warlock is just doing what Warlock usually does, all of the same things. And Warrior's back to, below 50% across all of the archetypes that you've seen in the past. Warrior can win some games. Now, I love Highlander Warrior. I've talked about it a bunch of times. I am not winning any games once I hit I think it was Bronze 2. Done. Just wasn't winning any games. Anything was beating me. So maybe some warrior help is needed very, very soon. Let's go into it. Again, also, all of the deck codes to the videos I talk about, just in case, they're in the description. If you look in the description, you'll see the deck code. You just copy it and then go to the browser, go to Hearthstone, and when you go create the new deck, it'll have that copied deck code and it'll say, would you like to add this deck to your, your game? You add it in, you filter out which ones you need to, replace or what adjustments you want to make, or if you have to dust any or craft any, and that's how you get it. So do not forget. Let's talk about Secret Hunter. Let's get right into it. It's 4,000 dust with a 63.7% win rate. Why am I talking about this? Because I think it's going to have a little bit of mini set potential, and it's a fun deck to play. Secret Hunter, like I said, 63.7%. That's great. That's amazing. Bronze through gold, you'll win some games. You got Bunch of Bananas. We know what that does. Costume Singer, one of the first best things that you can put out. It's going to get you a secret. You've got snakes, a little bit of board control there. They have stealth. It's a beneficial thing. Vicious Slither Spear is after you cast a spell, gain +1 attack until your next turn. I wish that would just stay in stack, but what am I talking about? It's a 1 mana 1/3. Stop being greedy, Jay. Bait and switch. Secret. When a friendly minion is attacked, give it +3/+3. This is a great secret to play, especially when you have a bunch of little piddly stuff on the board. Bargain Bin is another awesome secret. After your opponent plays a minion, spell, or weapon, draw 2 cards of the other 2 types. Draw a card of the other 2 types. So if they're drawing a spell, you can go ahead and get a minion and a weapon, what have you. It's a good spell secret to play. Barrel of Monkeys. Who doesn't love a Barrel of Monkeys? Explosive Trap. You know what this secret does. Deal 2 damage to all enemies. Play this early in the in the beginning of the game, because when 7/9s are on board on your opponent's side, it's not going to do nothing. Hidden Meaning. When your opponent ends their turn with no mana, summon a random 3-cost minion. When do you see turns with 0 mana being with any mana left over? It's very rare, so it's a good one. Patchwork Pals, we know what this does. Ice Trap, we know what this one does. Rat Trap, I like this one. People are saying that this one's not good. After your opponent plays 3 cards in a turn, summon a 6/6 rat, and that'll help you with the Bunch of Bananas, what have you. Titan Forge Traps, we've already talked about this one. Blue in the Face, it's a great card, especially if you forge it. Absolutely. Why wouldn't you forge this? Observer of Mysteries, cast 2 random secrets at the start of your turn, destroy them. This is just to interrupt that opponent the next turn. It's pretty good, especially if they're super beneficial for you. Camouflage Mount, another great card. Give a minion +3/+3, and a random bonus effect when it dies, summon a chameleon. So it just keeps something on board. Mantle Shaper, here we go. Elementa Naga, 5 mana 5/5, costs 1 less for each spell you've cast while holding this. So possibility of this getting out pretty quick is pretty easy. And then Product 9. Product 9 is awesome. Recast every friendly secret that triggered this game. So there's some more secrets that you can add on. And then Starstrung Bow, costs 1 less for each friendly secret that has triggered this game. You can play this pretty quickly. So it's a really good deck. Very versatile, easy to play. You're going to have a hard time, meaning it's going to be a grind for you to fight against Paladin, because especially the Handbuff or what have you, they're just really strong, but you can interrupt everything, and this is what it's about. They're going to be wondering what you have out as the secret, and with that, with the one card right here, Observer of Mysteries, they're not going to know which ones they are because they're too random. So it's some interruption there. It's a fun deck. It's easy to pilot, in my opinion. Next one we're going to talk about, and this one's important. Listen, I've talked about this deck many times. I don't want to waste your time. Look at how consistent this is. it's a good deck. And for 720 dust, it's just crazy. It's just crazy. A 58.6% win rate. Overall win rate, it's fighting everything. Look at this. If you look at this against, Death Knight, it's 59%. You have the lowest thing is 51% against what? Against other paladins. You'd be silly not to play this. The great thing also is you can make some tweaks to this as you go through, and as you play the game, there's people playing right now that are hitting legend with Handbuff Paladin or a variation of Handbuff Paladin. And yeah, Air Guitarist, we know what this does. Get the weapon, 1 durability, Righteous Protector. You have that taunt and Divine Shield, and it's 1 mana, Scarab Keychain, discover a 2-cost card. This was just something to have to be able to play immediately. South Sea Deckhand has charge while you have a weapon equipped. Put this in your hand, keep it in your hand, and then do some fun stuff because you're going to be buffing these cards. Gold Panner, at the end of your turn, draw a card. Card draw. That's what it is. Grime Street Outfitter. Give all minions in your hand +1/+1. Instrument Tech. Great card for you to be able to draw that weapon. And listen, Shroomscavate. Remember when this used to have Wind Fury? Oof. This one was a mess. Give a minion Divine Shield, Excavated Treasure. Excavate is good with this. So if you don't have a lot of the hand buff pieces, there's an Excavate package for Paladin that would also work as well. So just remember that. Alkalite of Pain. Yeah, takes damage, draw a card. Card draw in 1. Muscleatron. This one's also amazing. Make sure you forge it. Please make sure you forge it. Outfit Tailor. This is going to be buffed, and it's going to give a friendly minion attack and health equal to this minion's. One of the things you want to do while you're playing this, if you have that extra mana and you don't want to throw something crazy out, throw one of your silver hand recruits. Use your hero power, because you might be able to make that, something that the opponent's not going to worry about. Oh, a 1/1, I'm not worried about that. On board, yeah, it's fine. And then you throw this out where it's got like 6/6 or 7/7, and then boom, you're doing 6 or 7 damage or what have you with a silver hand recruit. So just remember that. Painter's Virtue. Lifesteal. After your hero attack, give minions in your hand +1/+1. This card would be amazing if it wasn't Lifesteal, and it's just even better that it has Lifesteal. Crazy card. Tigress plushie, we've seen it for a while. It's very good. The ability to make this one huge for 4 mana, and then the ability to have the miniaturize, it's going to make it, the next one just as big. It's just crazy value. Leroy Jenkins, listen, you know what Leroy does. Leroy has, the iconic, scream that he does or what have you. You know what this card is for. Thank goodness it's in core. Never ever take it out of core. Warsong Grunt is another one. After this attacks and kills a minion, it may attack again. Throw it in your hand, buff it up a bunch of times, and then just clear your opponent's board. And then Nomelia. Nomelia is great. These 2 cards, Warsong Grunt and Nomelia, are amazing cards. This one here. Rush also damages minions next to whoever this attacks. And then the Death Rattle is deal 2 damage to all enemies. This is crazy. This deck is really good. I'm gonna talk about it. Do I think there's any synergy of the new mini set? I think there's maybe 1 card, maybe 2 card. None of them are really needed. This deck is able to run on its own. So if you're not going to buy the mini set, you've got a little bit of dust, less than 1,000 dust, craft this deck. I'm telling you, you'll thank me later. Next up, Elemental Mage, and this one is 1,320 dust with a 62.9% win rate. Here's another one. 1,300 dust for you to be able to go bronze through gold, win some games. The win rate is 62.9%. The only one you're really having a major issue with is Shaman. Makes sense. A little bit of Paladin makes sense. You're smoking Rogues. Rogues don't know what to do. You're doing pretty good with Warrior and what have you. And listen, every time I'm playing that Highlander deck, some variation of Elemental Mage gets me every single time. So it's easy to pilot with this one. This one's super simple. Firefly, Flame Geyser. This is just elementals. Try to put an elemental on board every single time. Keep on going. You also have Synthesize, which is the great spell to add a random 1, 2, 3 cost elemental to your hand. Flame Revenant. I can't say that 3 times fast. After you summon an elemental, give it +1/+1. Rolling Stone does amazing as well. You have some synergy with some of these cards. Saloon Brewmaster. Return a friendly minion to your hand, give it +2/+2. This is also super popular. This could do a lot of stuff for you. Number one, it could throw out your Tainted Revenant again and make some crazy stuff happen. Saloon Brewmaster could do any of this stuff. So remember, when you're using Saloon, don't use it for the 1 mana cards. Don't use it for the 2 mana cards. Do it for the crazy stuff. That with Tainted Revenants, if you played an elemental last turn, deal 7 damage, randomly split between all enemies, 9 mana, and you'd be able to use that multiple times. It's great. I would definitely consider that one. Lamplighter, we know what this one does. Deal 1 damage, improved by each turn in a row you've played an elemental. Don't play this turn 4. Play this like turn 12 and just really smoke your opponent. Overflow Surger, summon a copy of this for each turn in a row you played elemental. Play this later on where you can summon copies of all of them. It's great. You'd be able to use that with some of the other synergies there. Triple Wick Trickster, deal 2 damage to a random enemy 3 times. Crazy value. Crazy value for it of 4 mana, 2/3. It's good, especially if your opponent only has 1 thing on board. It's great. Unchained Gladiator, draw a card, repeat for each elemental you played last turn. So play a couple of small ones, throw this one out, boom, you've got some card draw. Sleet Skater, this one's also crazy good. This is the one that was kicking my butt playing the Warrior the other day. It's just freeze an enemy minion, gain armor equal to its attack. So you could do anything that you want, get some crazy armor. If the attack is crazy and it freezes the minion's not going to hit you in the face, gives you the opportunity to kill it. It's crazy good. And then, yeah, Tainted Remnant. If you played an elemental last turn, deal 7 damage, randomly split between all enemies. Great deck. And again, it's easy to pilot. You should have no problems running this. And look at this. Hunter. Against Hunter, 72%. So Hunters are going to be like instant concede. Just kidding. They might not do that. You're going to have to play. Okay, we have one more deck. We're going to talk about Elemental Shaman. Okay, 6,560 dust, 62.5% win rate. This one, I don't think we've talked about a ton. I know we've probably talked about it once or twice, but man, elemental stocks in the past couple of weeks have been pretty high. There's Elemental Rogue, Elemental Shaman, and now there's Elemental Mage. There's some good opportunities there. This one is also not difficult to pilot. Now, this one's 6,560 dust, but I have to put that caveat there. Calamos. Calamos is a core card, so this should not cost you anything. So make sure you guys don't think that I'm lying or whatnot and say these decks are below. This one should only cost you less than 5,000 dust to craft if you have none of these cards. Firefly, we know what that does. Glacial card, freeze an enemy. Great. Elemental, Shockhopper. Get a random overload card. Random is great. I don't care what you say. It's a random card. You're good. Flame Revenant. I couldn't say that twice now. That's ridiculous. After you summon an elemental, give it +1/+1. Menacing Nimbus. Add a random elemental to your hand to give you more elementals. You see where we're going here. It's just elemental, 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 elemental. If you played an elemental last turn, draw a card. Meltimento. It's a taunt, and this is permanently frozen. A 3-mana 3/8 with taunt that's permanently frozen that your opponent has to get around. That's pretty good. I wish this was for Mage, but yeah, this is a Shaman card. Minecart Cruiser, Rush, Overload, 2, Battlecry. If you played an elemental last turn, don't overload. You're going to play an elemental. It's just a known fact. That's all this deck is about. Lamplighter, you know what this one does. 1 damage improved in turn in a row. You've played an elemental. Sandart Elemental, Miniaturize, Battlecry. Give your hero +1 attack and Wind Fury this turn. That might be pretty good. If you have a weapon, you might want to consider throwing a weapon in if you don't have all these. I don't know if I would do that just for that, but it's also got Miniaturize too. So you could do 2 damage or what have you, +1 attack and Wind Fury for, playing this card on both this one and the Miniaturize one. Pretty good. Living Prairie. Love this card. Love the card art. Love the token art. If you played an elemental last turn, which you will, Summon 2/3/3 cows with rush. Yes, cows are not elementals, but it's really cool and the art is really cool, so I am for it. Magatha, Bane of Music. I saw this first came out and I was like, this is garbage. What are we talking about? I was so completely wrong. This just fits. If you're playing decks that don't have a lot of spells, don't have any spells at all, you'd be silly not to put this card in your deck. Do you need it? No, absolutely not. So if for some reason you don't have this, which I would be shocked if nobody has this, but yeah, you can go ahead and not even worry about this. Incendious, I think you need it. Incendious is at the end of your turn, upgrade your eruptions, and the battle cry is shuffle 5 eruptions in your deck. 6 mana, 2/10. It's going to take a little bit for your opponent to get this off of your board, and it's just, doing some eruptions at the end of your deck that cause damage. Kalamos, like I said, this one is part of the core set. Battlecry, if you played an elemental last turn, cast an elemental invocation. There's multiple options that you can use, and it's just depending on what you need at the time. It's great utility for 7 mana, plus it's a 7/7 elemental on board. Scar, that's another one. Deal 1 damage to all enemies, improved by each turn in a row you played an elemental. Play this at the end of the game. Play this absolutely good. Don't play this at turn 7. Don't, because you want to go ahead and get all of those elementals running to do 1 damage to all enemies. You can clear major boards just by playing this. Don't rush to play this, okay? Azurite Giant, 8 mana, 8/8, cuts 1 less for each turn in a row you've played an elemental. So you'll be able to, if you're doing things right, if you have the right card draw, if you have the right elementals in your hand, you'll be able to play this pretty quickly, and it's an 8/8 on board. Again, all these elemental decks that I've talked about, even the elemental rogue one, when we've talked about it before, they're all very easy to pilot. This one's pretty good, and I think we might see elemental shaman around a little bit more. I have to dig in more to the mini set and the cards that are in the mini set, but I think this one right here, if you were crafting some cards, like let's say you had to craft Incendious, yeah, I think you'll be okay with that. I think you'll be okay with that because it's a neutral card. You can play it in so much more. So you can use it in some other items. Yeah, what else? Callum Norse, that's a shaman. So if you're playing shaman, that's core. You'll be fine. You don't have to worry about that anyway. And then Scar is also another one. I don't know if I would craft Scar. Me personally, I don't know if I would do that. Unless you're really into playing elemental shaman, it depends. Try this deck. Try all of them. The deck codes, again, are in the description below. I have the mini set video that I'm working on, so we'll talk about all the mini set cards that are coming out on Tuesday. And until then, I will see you in the next video.